It is exactly 9:52, and of course, we're on to our final interview for the morning. Another bad news story. I'm so sorry that we're ending off on a negative tone, but it's a story that needs to be unpacked. People need to be aware of all that is going on, all the shenanigans as far as government is concerned. We're going to be talking with a public service and commercial union, and the person that's joining us this morning is Astrid Al-Anani. And it is a story that I mentioned a little earlier on regarding, obviously, large scale corruption, because this is what it's all about. And this is why we're having a situation where government is talking about getting rid of 80,000 public servants. And as Astrid says, she is a public service commercial union deputy president. She goes on to say that if the knife of retrenchment goes in, it will cut flesh and not fat. A very good morning to you. And oh, goodness me, what next?
What
Unbelievable.
next?
I was just talking to the PSA a little earlier on, and we're talking about the grants. The ANC Women's League are wanting the basic income, the grants to be increased, from 350 to 1,500 rand, and unemployed graduates to be given a grant of 4,500 rand a month. All of that money could be put to better use by government if they create employment, because that's the only way we're going to be able to put food on the tables for all of South Africans. And now we're hearing about government wanting to get rid of 80,000 people.
Yeah. That is unfortunate. It
I'm
is
sure you must
unfortunate.
be seething when you wrote up this press statement.
Absolutely. I think that the discussions around retrenchments in government, it's not the first time that we are hearing of it. It has been hinted during previous years' wage negotiations. It has been simmering around. And we believe that, yes, ultimately to appease even international investors, as well as the call for it internationally, that there has been always an intention to reduce the public service. Previous years, it was raised that jobs are not being filled, that there's not enough supply, people are working excessive overtime, people having to do two people's functions at once. The need for services to be delivered is still there. Money is still there. The question is just how it is allocated. I think we find ourselves in a time where we have to honestly sit with each other and say that the system that we're currently having is no longer working. We have to start looking at how to make it affordable for human beings to survive and to have a life. We say we all have dignity to it, but we're making it impossible currently for everybody to have a fair chance of life. We need to work on it hand in hand. We have to find a way, but increasing unemployment is not it's not the answer. Friends and family of mine also are facing retrenchments at their workplaces, and who's benefiting out of it? Not the poor, not the impact on the state. We need to see how we can do it better.
There's a narrative that the public sector is very bloated and that's money going down the drain. How do you see it?
I How can a public service be bloated when we don't have proper infrastructure, where even when it comes to local government, where basic services are not being provided, where we are saying that there's technology and that technology is available in the private for private use. An application, a simple application that can help work seekers to find employment. Where's the Department of Labor making that jobs accessible for people in their surroundings and environment? There's various ways that we can adapt already what we have. What we are saying is that there must be service to the people, and we must be governed by the people for the people. The basic concept has been lost. I think we are governing the people. The people are allowing themselves to be governed by those who's benefiting, the elite, not the poor. All we are saying is give everybody a fair chance to live, to have food, to have water, clean basic water, to have medical care. And yet we regard the public service as bloated. I think that the public service just needs to make sure that it starts looking at the future. We are now talking about a working system that has been created before, when we started evolving as human beings. We are so far ahead now, and yet we haven't even started to adjust. That adjustment can no longer happen slowly and gradually. We have to speed up, and we have to use what we have. And we need to become brave enough to say, how do we do it? But creating more unemployment, we do not believe that's the answer.
So, Astrid, in your press statement, you also say how much, and it's a question you ask, a very valid one, I might add. How much more can government get this wrong? Well, I can tell you something. They've got everything wrong. There isn't one thing that I believe that they've got right. Because if they had done things according to the book, this would have been a very, very prosperous country, and Johannesburg would reclaim or would have still enjoyed the status of a world class city.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely right.
It all boils down to major corruption, does it not?
How did we as South Africans started asking government, how much money did you, for the entire time that corruption has been reported? How did we start recovering some of the funds? Did we start keeping people accountable? Have we stopped the leaks of the frivolous expenditure, the contracts of people that are not even delivering on those contracts? They're just receiving monies every month, but yet potholes are not fixed. They're receiving their money. Are we keeping those people accountable? If you create chaos and you lose the essence of accountability, and we as the people are saying we need to keep our government accountable, because if we don't, chaos will continue. Benefits for the elite will keep on being created, and the poor will keep on suffering. And we are saying give everybody a fair chance.
What about trade unions? They are there to serve their members, are they not? We're not seeing too much of proactivity from them. Should they also not? Isn't their mandate to hold government accountable one of their mandates?
I do believe that trade unions have got that specific role that we are supposed to play. And if it is that we allowed ourselves for
Astrid, are you still there? Sure. We seem to have lost the connectivity, so I think we're going to leave it there. It is exactly 10 o'clock time for me to sign off anyway. But let me just tell you about a very special broadcast happening between 11 and 12 o'clock today. And this is with Sabiha Dokrat. It's a series, it started yesterday. It's entitled Grief Unpacked. And today, on Tuesday, the 12th of September, she is going to be speaking with Fatima Munshi, emotional healing therapist and spiritual coach, focusing on empowerment and helping women navigate their struggle with an Islamic approach, inshallah. So be sure not to miss it. And let us then wrap up. It is exactly 1 after 10 o'clock. A big thank you to our production team, and that, of course, is you, Nasreen Naidu and Abdul Salam. Take care on the roads. Keep warm if you're going out. It's freezing cold. It seems like winter's back again on our doorstep, just when I thought it was safe to go out. But be that as it may, keep warm, drive safely, and it is Assalamu alaikum and Khuda Hafiz from me, Julie Ali.